So, welcome back on my channel, LightWave Guru. Ericles, your question was, should the fire light up the smoke? And let us compare two renderings, yeah? And in that way, I can show in the best way what's happened there. So, LightWave and the embedded Octane version, and also the Octane parameters himself, so for example, the texture emission node and the medium volume node have that feature. So let us compare two renderings, yeah? This rendering here is with a GI clamp from 1 and with one light sample, yeah? So that is a rendering that's really quick, yeah? So if you render it, for example, that's an example with 2560 pixels and 1080 pixels. If you render that, you have the final output in 2 minutes, okay, with my cards. And you see that the fire himself not really light up the volume, so the smoke, yeah, in clear text, yes. So those you see there only the emission from the light himself in that volume node for that fire part, yeah, with the emission ramp, and you see a little bit after effect from Octane himself, yeah, that's that bloom node, and that's all. So you have a quicker, stable rendering, and all is fine. Yes, 2 minutes the rendering time. Now I show you another rendering. Wait a second. Let us change here the picture. So, yeah, you see it? The difference. This here is, yeah, same camera position, same scene, all the same. But you see that there, the light emission node and the render kernel is in a condition that it can illuminate the volume himself. Yeah. And the simple reason is that's a little bit a thing of what do yourself with a texture emission node. Yeah, how many light sample you drop in. You can see it in on the left side on top. I wrote it there. So for that example here, the light, we have one light sample and the GI clamping from 1. And here we have GI clamping from 100 and 300,000 or 30,000 light samples. Yeah. And the rendering time is here 15 minutes. Yeah. So that means if you want a clean rendering with in a condition that the fire also spread light in the volume, then you need much more render samples in the render kernel to create a noise-free rendering. Yeah. And that's a little bit the difference. So you have the advantage and disadvantage. It's all times the same, yeah. So this here is quick rendered. It looks good, and we have the chance in the post to build in with Fusion, for example, a little motion blur for the particles that comes out or the voxels that comes out from the emitter. With optical motion blur and vector motion blur in combination, that two plugins in Fusion. Yeah, so you can also build motion blur with a free version from DaVinci Resolve. So that's us little tip in that case, if you want it. And the second is that Octane himself brings the options to do things like that here. Yeah. But that means you have much higher render times. So if you show things like that, your client, for example, then you have to say, okay, that makes the rendering times goes up 10 times higher, yeah, for that little effect. And also the parameters for rendering would be changed for the whole scene. That means also if you take a look to the lights from the car here, yeah. So if you put much more light samples in the scene, so that Octane can render it with another GI clamping, you see also that the light also, for example, for that lamps here, would be go in that way, yeah. So it all would be more exact calculated, and that also change a little bit the look, yeah. Yeah, you see it directly, yeah. And now you can, yeah, it's your decision what you do, yeah. So this mean, for example, let us go in my old LightWave. So I render this Octane version 4. Yeah, so that's the reason that you see here not LightWave 2025, you see a 2019 version, yeah, but it's not from interest. The calculation with that actual Turbulence Fluid Dynamics plugins is from 2025. So if I go in the volume node editor here under Octane texture emission and I have here sample rate from 1, that's not enough, yeah, to illuminate the volume himself. If you would do it, you can play with the parameter, but take for example 30,000, yeah. And also if you go in the path tracing kernel, then yeah, make here GI clamp much higher, for not 1, make 100 for example. And another trick to bring the Octane render kernel in the condition that he render all the voxels in the best condition is to go down with a ray epsilon so much as you can, yeah. So if your ray epsilon is too low, then you build artifacts, yeah, it's clear, yeah. So check out for your individual scene what's the lowest ray epsilon you can use, and that bring the crispness and accuracy in that rendering. Yeah, normally is at 100, and 100 is often too high. Yeah, so you see really a difference in the ray epsilon. So, and that's a little bit behind that kind of renderings, yeah. So if you have a rendering with one light sample here, and you have a rendering with 30,000 light samples, yeah, so you can illuminate the volume, but it's expensive, yeah. So yeah, more cannot say. So that's simple the fact about that, yeah. So see you later, alligator. Bye. I show later some renderings in motion. It looks really good if you have a volume ramp and play with that. But my renderings for the examples is with one light sample and with GI clamping from 1. And the simple reason is that then the rendering times in full HD is round about 1 minute per frame and not 10 minutes. Yeah. So if somebody would see things like that, you can do that, but then you go in a direction, let us call it AAA. Yeah. And then all that process would be massive expand, yeah, about the rendering time and so on and so on. So it's all time a little bit tricky if I show on my channel things. Often I show things that show in principle what you can do, but not the highest possible quality. And the simple reason is that rendering time is money. Yeah. And my YouTube channel is a private thing. I make no money with that channel. And that's also a little bit curious. I have that channel now 11 years. And in the last 3 years, I become 6 new abonnents. Yeah, 6 new users. So I have all time 1,980 users. Yeah. So it's not possible to become 2,000 users or more, but I give a fuck about it. I tell only here the truth about that channel. Yeah. So that's my private thing to help the community if we need it, or I show what I can do for myself with LightWave. But anybody have to know that I show not my best examples on that channel often. And the simple reason is I show often only quick tests, yeah? So what is possible? But that what is possible means not that it's the highest quality that's possible. And the thing is, yeah, rendering time costs money. Yeah. And if you have no money, you have no rendering times. You understand what I mean? So have a nice time, Ericles. Later, yeah? Bye.